Welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is Narayan Rao Kovur. In this video, I am going to explain in a detailed manner that is consumer's equilibrium using indifference curve. Consumer's equilibrium using indifference curve. Equilibrium means a state of balance. Equilibrium means changelessness. So, what is the meaning of consumer's equilibrium? What are the assumptions? What are the requirements to explain consumer's equilibrium? And what are the equilibrium conditions? What happens when the consumer is in equilibrium? So, now let us examine first consumer's equilibrium using indifference curve technique. A consumer reaches equilibrium position by choosing optimal consumption bundle through indifference map and budget line. To explain the consumer's equilibrium using indifference curve, we need indifference map and budget line. Indifference map means a set of indifference curves is known as indifference map. It explains entire utility function of a consumer. It depicts the complete picture of taste and preference of the consumer. Indifference curves are arranged and numbered in ascending order. Higher indifference curve shows that higher level of satisfaction than lower one. That is called indifference map. Second one is price line or budget line. Budget line shows that all those combinations of two commodities which the consumer can buy with his money income and prices of two commodities, that is known as budget line. So, to examine the consumer's equilibrium through indifference curve, so we need indifference map and budget line. Next, consumer is said to be in equilibrium when he derives maximum possible satisfaction from the goods. Consumer is said to be in equilibrium when he derives maximum possible satisfaction from the goods. Then only the consumer is in equilibrium. Next, the consumer's equilibrium mainly depends upon some assumptions. The assumptions are rational consumer. Consumer is a rational consumer. Rational consumer is a consumer who always seeks maximum satisfaction with his limited income. He is called rational consumer. Second one is all goods are homogeneous and divisible. All goods are homogeneous. That means identical in all aspect and respect. Perfect substitutes and divisible. Next, he has fixed money income. He should completely spend that income on two goods. That means consumer has fixed money income and he should completely spend that income on both the commodities. That means there is no savings. Next, prices of two goods are given and constant. Prices of two goods are given remains constant. Therefore, consumer's equilibrium using indifference curve depends upon these assumptions. Consumer's equilibrium explained with the help of diagram. So, draw L shape, mark YOX. Good Y is measured on Y axis, good X measured on X axis. First, draw the price line. PL is the price line. Then draw IC1, IC2, IC3, IC4 and so on IC5. So identify the midpoint of price line where IC3 is a tangent to price line. Price line is a tangent to IC3. That is called Q. And where indifference curve touches price line, you identify the points R, S, Q, T, H. Right, this is the diagram. This diagram depicts consumer's equilibrium, explains consumer's equilibrium using indifference curve. What are the requirements? Indifference map is available, price line is available to examine the consumer's equilibrium. Next, to show which combination of two goods gives equilibrium to consumer, bring his indifference map and budget line together. కన్జ్యూమర్ ఈక్విలిబ్రియంలో ఉన్నాడు లేదా తెలుసుకోవాలంటే సో వీ నీడ్ ఇండిఫరెన్స్ మ్యాప్ అండ్ బడ్జెట్ లైన్. దెన్ ఓన్లీ టు నో దట్ వెదర్ ద కన్జ్యూమర్ ఈస్ ఇన్ ఈక్విలిబ్రియం ఆర్ నాట్. రైట్, సో IC1, IC2, IC3, IC4, IC5 are shown together with budget line for X and Y. PL is the price line. IC1, IC2, IC3, IC4, IC5 are different indifference curves. Higher indifference curve shows that higher level of satisfaction. Lower indifference curve shows that lower level of satisfaction. Now, equilibrium conditions. What are the equilibrium conditions? Consumer's optimum choice of combinations or equilibrium point should satisfy two conditions. The two conditions are, it must be a point on the budget line. Equilibrium point must be a point on his budget line. Equilibrium point అనేది బడ్జెట్ మీద ఒక పాయింట్గా ఉండాలి. It must be a point on his budget line. Second condition is, it must lie on the possible higher indifference curve. ఈ ఈక్విలిబ్రియం పాయింట్ పాజిబుల్ హయ్యర్ ఇండిఫరెన్స్ కర్వ్ మీద ఉండాలి. దీస్ ఆర్ ద టూ కండిషన్స్ ఆర్ రిక్వైర్డ్. కన్జ్యూమర్ షుడ్ సాటిస్ఫై. దట్ మీన్స్ కన్జ్యూమర్స్ ఆప్టిమల్ చాయిస్ ఆఫ్ కాంబినేషన్ ఆర్ ఈక్విలిబ్రియం పాయింట్ షుడ్ సాటిస్ఫై these two conditions. The conditions are, it must be a point on his budget line. It must lie on the possible higher indifference curve. In this diagram, I see 3. Next, combination Q is the best choice because this combination lies not only on his budget line but lies on the higher indifference curve, that is IC3. If you observe this diagram, if we observe this diagram, Q is the best choice because this combination lies not only his budget line and so lies on the higher indifference curve also. Ante price line must be tangent to the indifference curve. In other words, price line must be tangent to the indifference curve, and slope of price line is equal to slope of indifference curve. These two conditions are required. So Q point satisfies both the conditions. So combination Q is the best choice because this combination lies not only on his budget line but also lies on the higher indifference curve, that is called IC3. Therefore, consumer is in equilibrium at Q on IC3. What are the two important conditions? Price line must be tangent to the indifference curve. So here PL is the price line that is tangent to the IC3 at point Q. First condition satisfied. Second condition, at Q, slope of price line is equal to slope of indifference curve. Both are equal. Right. Consumer cannot reach IC4, IC5. If we observe this diagram, consumer cannot reach IC4 and IC5 because his money income is not supporting. Prices of two commodities also not supporting. So he can't reach IC4, IC5 because his money income is limited. Next, consumer can reach IC1, IC2, but it leads to underspending as they lie below the price line. Consumer can reach IC1 and IC2. This is IC1, this is IC2. Consumer can easily reach IC1 and IC2. Both are lies below the budget line, price line. Next. So that is called underspending. Underspending. So attainable, not desirable. That means surplus amount of money income available with the consumer. That is called underspending. So he can't stay. Consumer can't stay on IC1, IC2. Consumer can't stay on IC1 and IC2 because that is called underspending. Attainable, not desirable, because surplus amount of money available with the consumer. At the same time, consumer cannot reach IC4, IC5 because his money income is limited, can't reach IC4 and IC5. At equilibrium point Q, B budget line is tangent to the IC3. Budget line is tangent to the IC3. Consumer buys OM of X, ON of good Y. At that point, consumer buys OM of good X and ON of good Y. And slope of price line is equal to Px by Py, that is equal to slope of indifference curve, that is MRS XY. MRS XY is equal to delta Y by delta X. Change in the Y by change in the X. Slope of price line is equal to slope of indifference curve. That means Px by Py is equal to, so that is MR delta Y by delta X. Therefore, MRS XY is equal to Px by Py. MRS XY slope of indifference curve. Px by Py slope of price line. Both are equal at a Q. Both are equal at Q. Thus, MRS XY is equal to MUX by MUY is equal to Px by Py. Therefore, consumer is in equilibrium at a Q on IC3. Consumer Q దగ్గర ఈక్విలిబ్రియంలో ఉండి ఐసీ కరు 3 మీద ఉండి సో ఓఎం ఆఫ్ గుడ్ ఎక్స్ని ఓఎన్ ఆఫ్ గుడ్ వైని పర్చేజ్ చేసి ఈక్విలిబ్రియంలో ఉంటాడు. ద కన్జ్యూమర్ గెట్స్ మ్యాక్సిమం పాసిబుల్ సాటిస్ఫాక్షన్. దిస్ ఈజ్ కన్జ్యూమర్స్ ఈక్విలిబ్రియం using indifference curve. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe and comment.